My wife's divorce friends told her marriage was holding her back, so she asked for a divorce to rediscover herself. I agreed and even supported her, but I also made sure she discovered a few unexpected truths of her own. My wife Lisa and we were the picture of stability. 8 years of marriage, a beautiful home, good careers, regular travel. I honestly thought we had it all. We met in our mid-20s, built a life together, and I genuinely believed we were happy. Then, about 6 months ago, everything changed. Lisa reconnected with her old college friends, Monica, Jessica, and Ashley. They'd kept in touch loosely, but Monica had just moved back to our city after her second divorce. Jessica had been married and divorced twice, and Ashley? She'd never married, always focused on her career. Lisa was the only one in a long-term stable relationship. First, I thought it was great. Lisa was excited to rebuild her support network, and they started meeting for weekly dinners. But those weekly dinners quickly spiraled into daily contact. Lisa would come home eyes wide talking about how enlightened and empowered her friends were. She started using these new phrases I'd never heard from her. Living authentically. Not settling for less. She began questioning things about her life that had never ever bothered her before. Monica says I've gotten too comfortable in my marriage, Lisa told me after one dinner, almost like she was reciting a script. She says comfort is the enemy of growth, and that married women often lose themselves in relationships. I asked her straight up, "Do you feel like you've lost yourself in our marriage?" She just shrugged, saying she wasn't sure. But Monica had made interesting points about how marriage could limit her potential for self-discovery. I tried to talk to say we could discuss any concerns, but she just said she needed to think about it more. Over the next few weeks, it was like I was living with a different person. Lisa started working out obsessively, changed her entire wardrobe, and suddenly, all she could talk about was exploring new experiences. She signed up for classes, bought expensive products, and started spending money on things she'd never shown an ounce of interest in. Jessica says I've been playing it too safe, she'd explain. She says I got married young and never really explored who I could become. She thinks I've been hiding behind marriage security instead of challenging myself. It was chilling. Her friends, these women I barely knew, suddenly had more influence over her decisions than I did. We'd been planning a vacation to Italy, something we dreamed about. Suddenly, Lisa wanted to backpack through Asia alone. Solo travel is essential for personal growth, she declared. When I suggested we go together, she just said, that would defeat the purpose. Then there was Ashley, the never-married one. Ashley's traveled to 40 countries and built an amazing career because she prioritized herself over relationships, Lisa told me, almost accusingly. She says I could have done the same if I hadn't gotten married so young. The conversations with her friends became more intense, hours on video calls, dissecting her journey of self-discovery. She started reading self-help books about breaking free from limiting relationships, and joined online groups about conscious uncoupling. 3 months in, the bomb dropped. Lisa announced she wanted couples therapy. She said she was working through things about marriage and commitment. Our therapist, Dr. Martinez, seemed concerned, and frankly, so was I. Lisa explained she'd been doing deep work with her friends about personal growth and realized she might have settled for marriage without exploring her individual potential. She said she loved me, but wasn't sure if she'd chosen marriage for the right reasons. Dr. Martinez asked for specific examples of how marriage felt limiting. Lisa struggled, eventually just saying, I don't know who I would be if I were single, and I've never had the chance to put myself first. Then came the parade of quotes, straight from her friends' mouths. Monica says married women lose their sense of adventure. Jessica says long-term relationships make you complacent. Ashley says marriage is giving up your dreams for someone else's happiness. Dr. Martinez asked if Lisa felt she'd given up her dreams for our marriage. Lisa said she wasn't sure what her dreams even were because she'd focused on we instead of me, and her friends were helping her rediscover her individual identity. Over several sessions, it became terrifyingly clear. Lisa's friends were conducting group therapy without a license. They were analyzing her marriage, diagnosing problems, and prescribing solutions based entirely on their own bitter, negative experiences. Dr. Martinez wisely suggested Lisa try individual therapy without external influences. Lisa flat out rejected it. My friends understand me better than any therapist, she insisted, because they've known me longer. Dr. Martinez doesn't understand the unique challenges women face in marriage. 2 months ago, her behavior became truly erratic. She started going out until 2 a.m., coming home buzzing about breakthrough conversations on how limited her life had become. She questioned every single aspect of our relationship. Monica pointed out that I always defer to your preferences for restaurants or movies, Lisa said. She says that's codependency, and I've lost touch with my own preferences. They criticized everything. Our joint bank accounts were financial control. Our date nights were boring. She needed more exciting experiences. They even attacked our intimacy. Jessica says being with the same person for years kills excitement and mystery. Lisa told me, her voice flat. She says I'll never know real passion if I stay in a comfortable marriage. Then last month, the final blow. Lisa came home looking determined but nervous. I've decided to take a break from our marriage, she said, her voice shaking slightly, to figure out who I really am as an individual. I need to rediscover myself outside this relationship. I got married before I knew who I was, and I've never explored my potential. Monica, Jessica, and Ashley helped me realize I've been living a limited version of myself. I asked what a break meant. She said she needed space to date herself and figure out what she wanted from life. She'd always been half of a couple and needed to learn to be complete on her own. You're a great husband, she said, but I need to know if I'm staying married because I want to be with you or because I'm afraid of being alone. My friends showed me there's a world of experiences I've never explored. I really did, to say we could explore new experiences together. But she just shook her head. You don't understand. I need to do this alone, without your support or influence. And then the kicker. That's exactly what Monica said you'd say. She said married men always try to convince wives they can change within marriage, instead of acknowledging that some growth requires complete independence. 3 weeks ago, she asked for a formal separation. She'd found an apartment, a tiny, expensive place downtown, and wanted to move out to live authentically without marriage constraints. She wasn't sure if it would lead to divorce, but she needed to explore single life. I need to discover who I am when I'm not trying to be a good wife, she said. My friends helped me realize I've never really put myself first. When Lisa asked how I felt about the separation, I did something that completely floored her. You're absolutely right, I said, looking her dead in the eye. You should definitely rediscover yourself. I think it's great for you to explore who you are outside marriage. You should find out what you're capable of on your own. She looked stunned, almost disappointed. She'd expected me to fight, to beg, to try and convince her to stay. Instead, I told her self-discovery was important, and I respected her decision to prioritize personal growth. I want you to have every opportunity to explore your potential, I told her. You should see what single life offers and figure out if marriage is really what you want. Lisa seemed almost deflated by my lack of resistance, but she mumbled something about being glad I was being mature. She moved out the following weekend with Monica and Jessica there, hovering, commenting about how brave and empowered Lisa was being. What Lisa didn't know, what they all didn't know, was that I'd already started my own discovery journey. And what I was about to discover would be very, very educational for both of us. The first week after Lisa moved out, she called daily, clearly expecting me to be a miserable, broken man, begging her to come back. Instead, I was enthusiastic about her experiences, encouraging her to explore everything single life offered. How are you handling being alone? She'd ask, fishing for signs I was struggling. I'm doing great, I told her honestly. I'm discovering things about myself too. You were right that we probably both got too comfortable. Lisa sounded utterly confused by my positive attitude. Monica had apparently warned her I might pretend to be fine while falling apart. I assured Lisa I genuinely wanted her to have this experience. Meanwhile, I was exploring my own opportunities. Without Lisa's expensive new habits, my monthly expenses dropped dramatically. I had more time for interests I'd neglected, enjoying the space to think without managing someone else's emotional reactions. 2 weeks later, I ran into Ashley at a coffee shop. She seemed genuinely surprised to see me looking relaxed and happy. How are you holding up? She asked, clearly expecting a broken man. I'm doing really well, I said. Lisa was right that we'd gotten too comfortable. This separation has been great for rediscovering who I am outside marriage. Ashley looked confused, even annoyed. She'd expected me to be struggling, to be a casualty of Lisa's empowerment. I told her I thought Lisa's choice was brave, and that I was proud of her courage to explore her potential. 3 weeks in, Lisa's calls became less frequent and more strained. She was having a harder time than expected, but she couldn't admit it without contradicting everything her friends had told her about empowerment. The apartment is really expensive, she mentioned almost offhand. I'm having to be more careful about budget than expected. I told Lisa that learning financial independence was valuable, and budget constraints might help her discover what she really valued. She sounded frustrated, like she'd hoped I'd offered to help with expenses. 1 month in, my friend Mark mentioned Lisa had been telling people at networking events that she was newly single and looking to explore all her options, wanting to make up for lost time. I told Mark I thought it was good Lisa was being open about her goals. He just looked at me, surprised by my reaction. I'd started paying attention to Lisa's friends' backgrounds. Monica had been married twice, both ending with her cheating and taking substantial settlements. Jessica had been engaged 4 times with a pattern of pushing for quick commitments, then getting bored. Ashley had never maintained a relationship longer than 6 months, and was known for being critical of others' happiness. These weren't empowered women who'd chosen fulfilling single lives. These were women who'd sabotaged their own relationships, and were now convincing Lisa to do the exact same thing. 6 weeks in, Lisa's social media posts became more desperate. She posted photos from bars with captions about living her best life. But she looked tired and unhappy. She was spending money she didn't have on experiences that were supposed to feel empowering, but clearly weren't working. I started living my best life and posting about it. I shared photos from rock climbing, photography expeditions, home renovation progress. I posted about new restaurants, books, and weekend trips to places Lisa and I had never visited. Unlike Lisa's desperate-looking club photos, my post showed someone genuinely enjoying exploring new interests. The difference was striking. "You look really happy," my sister commented. "Separation seems to be agreeing with you." I responded that I was grateful for the opportunity to rediscover neglected parts of myself. I said Lisa was right that people could lose themselves in relationships. Lisa saw these posts, and her reaction wasn't what her friends predicted. Instead of feeling empowered by my independence, she seemed threatened. She called after I posted some camping photos. "You seem to be doing really well without me," she said, with a sharp edge to her voice. I told Lisa I was proud of how well we were both handling separation. It showed we'd grown into strong, capable people during marriage and could both thrive independently. "Monica says men usually fall apart when wives leave them," she said. I just laughed. Monica clearly hadn't known capable men. I said I'd even been surprised by how much I enjoyed domestic tasks and maintaining the house alone. "You're not lonely?" Lisa asked, sounding genuinely disappointed. I told Lisa that solitude and loneliness were different. I was enjoying time to think and pursue interests without coordinating with someone else's schedule. 2 months in, I reached out to mutual friends who'd been concerned about Lisa's personality change. I didn't badmouth Lisa, but I was honest about what led to our separation. Lisa's questioning whether marriage held her back from discovering her potential, I explained, and her divorced friends convinced her she needs to explore single life. The response was immediate. Person after person said they'd been concerned about Lisa's new friend group and behavior changes. Several mentioned trying to reach out, but being told Lisa was too busy exploring her authentic self. "Those women have been filling Lisa's head with poison," our friend Sarah said, her voice full of anger. "Every time I've tried to spend time with her, they've been there, analyzing everything she says about her marriage." Lisa's sister, Amy, shared that Lisa had been calling family, asking for financial help because her apartment was stretching her budget. She'd also been complaining about how hard it was to meet quality people, and how disappointing her attempts at exploring options had been. "She won't admit it because her friend said that would mean failing," Amy said, "but she's miserable and scared." 3 months in, I hired a private investigator. I needed to know the truth about Monica, Jessica, and Ashley. The results were worse than I'd suspected. Monica had a pattern of befriending married women and convincing them to leave their husbands, while simultaneously trying to seduce the husbands herself. She'd broken up at least 3 marriages in her previous city. Jessica had been arrested for fraud and had a history of manipulating men financially. Ashley had been fired from jobs for creating hostile environments and had been in therapy for relationship sabotage tendencies. All 3 were struggling financially and emotionally, despite their claims about empowering single life. Monica lived off credit cards and alimony, desperately seeking husband number 3. Jessica was between jobs and had been evicted for non-payment. Ashley was on antidepressants and had been hospitalized for a breakdown. These weren't successful, empowered women. These were damaged people who'd sabotaged their own happiness and were now dragging Lisa down with them. 4 months in, Lisa's facade finally cracked. She called me crying. She said she was having a really hard time adjusting. The independence she'd sought felt like isolation, and she was questioning her entire decision. "I thought I'd feel more free by now," she said through tears, "but I just feel anxious and lonely. Monica says that's normal, but I don't feel like I'm breaking free. I just feel lost." 5 months in, Lisa asked to meet for coffee. She looked terrible. Weight loss, dark circles under her eyes, jumpy and anxious. She said she'd been questioning some of the advice from her friends. "I'm not sure this separation is working out how I thought," she said carefully. "I thought I'd feel more confident by now, but I mostly feel stressed and overwhelmed." I told Lisa her feelings were valid, and that if she was questioning her decision, maybe it was time to examine whether she was getting good advice from the people she'd been trusting. I pulled out a folder of documents. "You said you wanted to discover who you really are," I said, my voice calm but firm. "I thought you might be interested in discovering who your advisors really are too." I showed her the background information on Monica, Jessica, and Ashley. Lisa stared in shock as I explained Monica's pattern of breaking up marriages, Jessica's fraud history, and Ashley's relationship sabotage tendencies. "These aren't successful, empowered women who chose fulfilling single lives," I said. "These are people who consistently sabotage relationships and convince others to do the same. They're not helping you discover potential. They're dragging you down to their level." Lisa read through everything, tears streaming down her face. "Why didn't you tell me this before?" she whispered. I explained that she wouldn't have believed me if I tried discrediting her friends earlier. She needed to experience following their advice before she'd be ready to see them clearly. "You said you wanted to discover what you were capable of," I said. "I wanted you to discover you're capable of recognizing bad advice and toxic influences. I wanted you to learn to trust your instincts instead of depending on others to tell you what your life should look like." Lisa cried harder, saying she felt like an idiot for trusting them. I told her that learning to recognize manipulation was valuable and would serve her well. This experience taught her things about herself and relationships she never would have learned otherwise. "So what happens now?" Lisa asked, looking up at me, her eyes red. I told her that was entirely up to her. I learned about myself during separation too, and discovered I was capable of being happy and fulfilled alone. "If you want to rebuild our marriage, it has to be because you genuinely want to be with me, not because you're afraid of being alone. I want you to stay separated until you're absolutely sure about what you want," I said. "I want you to learn to trust your judgment instead of depending on others' opinions." 6 months after Lisa moved out, she ended her lease and moved back home. But she moved into the guest room while we worked on rebuilding our relationship slowly. She'd cut contact with Monica, Jessica, and Ashley and was working with a real therapist. "I thought I was discovering myself," Lisa said to me one day. "But I was just becoming whoever they wanted me to be. They convinced me questioning my marriage made me strong, but really they were making me weak and dependent on their approval." Lisa discovered that real empowerment comes from making your own choices based on your values, not rebelling against stability because others tell you to. She realized she'd been happy in our marriage, and her friends had manufactured problems that didn't exist. "They kept telling me I was settling," Lisa said. "But I wasn't settling. I was choosing. There's a difference between accepting less than you deserve and choosing something good, because you recognize its value." The reconciliation took almost a year. Lisa had to rebuild my trust by consistently making her own decisions instead of seeking validation from toxic people. We established better boundaries and communication patterns. 1 year after our separation ended, we renewed our wedding vows, with only people who genuinely supported our relationship present. Lisa wrote vows about choosing love over drama and building something lasting instead of chasing temporary excitement. Lisa did discover herself during our separation, just not how her friends intended. She discovered she valued loyalty, stability, and genuine partnership. She discovered she was strong enough to admit mistakes and mature enough to fix them. She learned real empowerment comes from making choices that align with your values. "The best thing about our separation wasn't discovering I could live without you," Lisa told me recently. "It was discovering I didn't want to. It was learning the difference between staying married because I was afraid to leave, and staying married because I genuinely chose this life with you. Today we have a stronger marriage than before. We communicate better, appreciate each other more, and are selective about who we allow to influence our relationship. We've learned to trust our judgment about what makes us happy instead of letting others define success for us." Lisa's friends thought they were helping her escape a limiting marriage, but they were trying to trap her in their cycle of relationship dysfunction. They wanted her to be as bitter and unsuccessful as they were because her happiness made them feel worse about their choices. Sometimes the most important journey of self-discovery isn't about exploring new possibilities. It's about recognizing the value of what you already have and learning to protect it from people who want to take it away.